Good afternoon, class. I hope that all of you had a wonderful weekend. Yes, I know you had a fantastic weekend. That little bunch over there. I hear all the gossip. So, today's class. What a way to start out. Unfortunately, we probably won't be able to cover most of our subject today, thanks to the fire drill. But we sure will try to cover as much as we can. Now, the test on this subject is quite a ways away, so we have time. But today's subject, Pompeii. The history of Pompeii and the unfortunate events that unfolded. If you'll all take your textbooks out and turn to page 152. That's the start of our chapter. While you do that, I'm going to get all my preparations in order. Yes. We probably will not get to that point in our lesson today. Yeah. Are we ready to begin? Very well. Okay, so the ancient Roman city of Pompeii. Can anybody tell me anything about Pompeii other than the volcanic eruption? Yes. Absolutely. It was a very busy city. People worked, people lived, people played. They had social interactions, just like we do. They had pets. They went to school. They had normal lives, just like you and me. unfortunate day, it all came to an abrupt end. Everything they knew and did was gone. Well, let's read in our textbooks so we can find out a little bit more about the beautiful city of Pompeii, Italy. I will read the first couple paragraphs, and I'll pass the task on to one of you. Pompeii, preserved ancient Roman city in Campania, Italy. 14 miles or 23 kilometers southeast of Naples. So, you're going to want to take notes on some of these important dates, names, and occasions. This is important information. Be sure to mark down whatever I jot on the blackboard, because you're going to need to know it. Now, alright, so Pompeii, preserved ancient Roman city in Campania, Italy. 14 miles or 23 kilometers southeast of Naples, at the southeastern base of Mount Vesuvius. And that is the volcano which brought devastation and complete destruction to our beautiful city of Pompeii. Now here's where we get into the technical details. Around noon on August 24th, 79 CE, a huge eruption from Mount Vesuvius showered volcanic debris over the city of Pompeii, followed the next day by clouds and blisteringly hot gases buildings were destroyed. The population was crushed or asphyxiated, and the city was buried beneath a blanket of ash and pumice. Has anyone ever heard the word pumice before? Okay. Just making sure. Okay. Does everyone have this information that's on the blackboard right now? Okay. Because I have some more for you. Important date. All right, let's continue on. For many centuries, Pompeii slept beneath its pail of ash, which perfectly preserved its remains. I'm sure a lot of you have seen photos of the castings of the deceased. Yeah. It's quite sad, isn't it? Yeah. Women, children, men, the elderly, horses, cows, pigs, chickens, sheep, dogs, cats, everything. When these were finally unearthed in the 1700s, the world was astonished at the discovery of a sophisticated Greco-Roman city frozen in time. Grand public buildings included an impressive forum and an amphitheater. Oh, but that isn't all. Lavish villas and all kinds of houses throughout the city, dating back to the 4th century BCE, were also uncovered. Inside were some preserved remains of people sheltering from the eruption. Others lay buried outside as they fled. It's quite sad. An entire moment. All their pain, suffering, and agony. Their hopelessness. All frozen in time. Bakeries were actually found. If you take a look at this photograph right here, that is the remnants of one of the bakeries in Pompeii. Some were even found with bread still in the oven. The buildings and their contents reveal day-to-day life in the ancient world and stirred 18th century interests in all things classical. Alright, who would like to read the next paragraph? Yes, go ahead. That over north of the mouth of the Sarnus. Yes, these names are quite difficult to pronounce, but that would be Herculaneum, Stabi, Tur Annunciate, Herculaneum, there we go. Annunci. We're collectively designated. Okay, pause right there. So, how many inhabitants were there in Pompeii? Between 10,000 and 20,000 inhabitants. That is a lot of people. So let me jot this down. You do the same. That's a lot of people during this devastating natural disaster. Continue. Modern town. They refer, yeah. So Pompeii, Herculaneum, and nearby towns were first settled by Oscan. Right? Oscan speaking descendants of the Neolithic inhabitants of Campania. Continue. Another difficult word. It's the Etruscans. Okay, very good. Alright, so Pompeii is first mentioned in history in 310 BCE, when, during the Second Sailing War, a Roman fleet landed at the Sarnus port of Pompeii, and from there made an unsuccessful attack on the neighboring city of Nuceria. At the end of the Samnite Wars, Campania became a part of the Roman Confederation, and the cities became allies of Rome. But they were not completely subjugated and Romanized until the time of social war. Pompeii joined the Italians in their revolt against Rome in this war and was besieged by the Roman general Lucius Cornelius Sulla in 89 BCE. So let's jot this name and date down. After the war. This picture right here shows one of the streets of Pompeii. As you can see, they had stone streets, very sophisticated in its time, very luxurious. The city was, the creme de la creme. You don't see many cobblestone streets or even brick streets much anymore. You can imagine taking a carriage, a horse and carriage, over these rocky streets. Not exactly the most fun or comfortable ride, but it's a way to get to point A and point B, or from point A to point B. Now, after the war, Pompeii, along with the rest of Italy, south of the Po River, received Roman citizenship. However, as a punishment for Pompeii's part in the war, a colony of Roman veterans was established there under Publius Sulla, the nephew of the Roman general. Latin replaced Oscan as the official language, and the city soon became Romanized in institutions, architecture, even culture. A riot in the amphitheater at Pompeii between the Pompeians and the Nucerans in 59 CE is reported by the Roman historian Tacitus. An earthquake in 62 CE did great damage in both Pompeii and Herculaneum. The cities had not yet recovered from this catastrophe when final destruction overcame them 17 years later. Just a huge string of bad luck and unfortunate events. Now, I have some maps. Some of you in the back probably won't be able to see it. Same thing with the photos I have. But after class, there's no more fire drills. Feel free to come up and take a gander. Okay? Alright. So, here we have two maps. Okay? Let me just pull these down. Give me 1 second. For those of you who do not know where Pompeii actually is, I have maps for your convenience. Alright, so if you take a look here, here we have Italy. Okay, now Pompeii is right down here. Here is Rome, and then here is Pompeii. Right down here by the, close to the sea there. Now, if we take a look at the magnitude of this eruption, the Mount Vesuvius eruption in 79 CE. This is an eye-opening diagram. This right here that tiny little mountain right there, that is Mount Vesuvius. These red dots, they are not capital cities. These are all cities that were destroyed by Mount Vesuvius. This gray shadow you see here on the map, that is the extent of the smoke plume, full of ash, pumice, and who knows what else. That is a large distance, ladies and gentlemen. So, if we take a look here at the map, we can pinpoint all the little bits and bobs. There's Capri. So, an area approximately that big. was inevitable. Who would like to read the next paragraph? Go right ahead. That is Miss Senham. Okay. Tell the story about Okay, I'll take over. Alright, and other volcanic debris began pouring down on Pompeii, quickly covering the city to a depth of more than 9 feet, or 3 meters. That's 9 feet of debris and ash. Causing the roofs of many houses to fall in. Surges of pyroclastic material and heated gas, known as lloyds'S. This is something that you're going to need to know for the test. So, pyroclastic material and heated gas, which was known as what? No. Well, it's a good thing we're going to write this down. I understand it's a hard one. Very hard, actually. Breached the city walls on the morning of August 25th, and soon asphyxiated those residents who had not been killed by falling debris. Additional pyroclastic flows and rains of ash and pale of ash. The bodies of the inhabitants who perished while taking shelter in their houses or trying to escape toward the coast or by the roads. Thus Pompeii remained buried under a layer of pumice stones and ash, 19 to 23 feet deep. That's 6 to 7 meters deep. The city's sudden burial served to protect it for the next 17 centuries from vandalism. Perfectly preserved, untouched. Untouched by tourists, untouched by guests, visitors, vigilantes, anything. Okay, so show you some of the artwork and architecture. So, starting with some of the architecture. As you can see behind me, we put over the bakeries. Yeah. And take a look at this. That's sophisticated right there. Brick ovens. Like you see when you go into an old style pizza shop. These big brick ovens. It's amazing. Or the streets, for example. Each stone placed there perfectly. Or take some of the cathedrals and amphitheaters and some of these massive buildings with pillars. Look at that. And to just think, by taking a look at these statues, for instance, they didn't have the tools that we have nowadays. The precision lasering and 3D printers, or even things what we think are simple. They didn't have, but they still created these masterpieces out of what I like to call Neanderthal tools, or antique tools, or whatnot. But it's quite amazing. It really is. Now, the first painting I'd like to show you, or the first bit of artwork I'd like to show you, this is Fresco Polyphemus in Galatia in a landscape. Roman fresco. From the imperial villa of Apripa Postumus at Boscatrigus, last decade of the 1st century BCE. And it's amazing how this artwork, a lot of this artwork, not all of it, but some, has survived for all of us to see. You don't get that much. And of course you get ancient Egypt, and the pharaoh's tombs and stuff like that, and what all they had in there. But let's see. It's interesting. It really is. The next painting I'm going to show you the statue. The statue is that of Apollo. From the temple of Apollo in Pompeii, Italy. No, not that Apollo. Class, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so this painting right here. Now this is an amazing painting. It shows a horse and a soldier. This is more than likely a painting of an actual individual. who lived in Pompeii? Let's find out. Mosaic of Alexander the Great. Discovered in the House of the Faun, Pompeii, Italy. So this painting of Alexander the Great was in someone's house. You know, this is artwork that they stared at on a daily basis, admired. Maybe, maybe it caused some emotion or some deep thinking even. Maybe some proudness. But see, that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Every little thing like this, when we're out there digging in the ground, it's worth it, because each item has its own story and its own personal history. The next painting now, take a look at this. This here was a mosaic on the floor of a Roman bath in Pompeii. You don't walk too many times into someone's house nowadays, into the bathroom, and come across beauty like this. I know the tiles in my bathroom are not this fantastic, but that is amazing. And take a look. Yeah. Each little tile carefully and intricately placed to form this masterpiece. It's amazing. And the final painting I have to show you before I let you all go, thanks to our interrupted class today, is this painting. This is a Dionysic initiation rites and prenuptial ordeals of a bride around 50 BCE in the Villa of the Mysteries in Pompeii. So this here, this more than likely is a record of someone's life. This could have been a moment in Pompeii, a bride getting ready for her wedding. Something to think about. We go day to day. We don't give too much thought about folks of the past and the lives that they lived, the things they went through on a day-to-day basis. School, work, love life, family, friends, emotions, happiness, sadness, anger, depression, fear. The list goes on. It's those fine things that we always seem to forget about when we, take a history class or, read a story about the past. Something like that, Okay, well, everyone, we've only got a couple minutes left, but maybe tomorrow we'll be able to finish this chapter and get you all ready for the test. Kidding. Test isn't yet. We've got a little while. But I hope you enjoyed this lesson today, or as much of it as we got to get in, but I will see all of you tomorrow. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And remember, if you want to come up, take a closer look at some of these photos, please feel free to do so. They're definitely worth a gander. So come on up.